31 day two. We did a lot of reviewing yesterday, and I hope you wrote those qualities down. And beside each quality, wrote down what we talked about a little bit, just a snippet to give you an idea, because we're developing you into a role model of what a person with character looks like. Today, we're going to develop the quality of being decisive. The story today is V8 engine. Henry Ford was a most unusual man. He was not a financial success until after he was 40 years old. He had very little formal education. After he built his empire, he conceived the idea of the V8 engine. Calling his engineers together, he said, "Gentlemen, I want you to build a V8 engine." Now, these brilliantly educated men knew the principles of mathematics, physics, and engineering. They knew what could and couldn't be done. They looked at Ford with a condescending attitude, who didn't have all those degrees that they did. And they said, "Let's humor the old man, because after all, he's the boss." They very patiently explained to him that the V8 engine was economically unfeasible, and they even explained why it couldn't be built. Ford wasn't listening, however, and simply said, "Gentlemen, I must have a V8 engine. Build me one." They half-heartedly worked for a period of time and reported back to him, "We're more convinced than ever that a V8 engine is an engineering impossibility." Mr. Ford, however, wasn't easily dissuaded. "Gentlemen, I must have a V8 engine, so let's go full speed ahead." Again, they went out, and this time they worked a little harder, spent a little more time and a lot more money. They came back with the same report. "Mr. Ford, the V8 engine is an absolute impossibility." The word impossible was not included in the vocabulary of the man who had already revolutionized the industry with assembly line production, $5 a day wages, the Model T, and the Model T automobiles. With fire in his eyes, Henry Ford said, "Gentlemen, you don't understand. You have to build a V8 engine, and you're going to build it. Now go do it." Guess what? They built the V8 engine. They did it because one man was intelligently ignorant enough not to know that something couldn't be done, so he did it. We see this every day. One says, "I can't," and doesn't. One says, "I can," and does. See, there's no such word as can't. Can't actually means, "I don't know how," which means, "I'll teach you." Or it means, "I'm not going to do it," which means you're going to be fired. Now, that's in any situation that you're talking about. When you say, "I can't," you're saying, "I don't know how." And if you tell me that you can't do something, I'm going to say, "Which one is it now? Do you not know how to do it? Or are you simply stiffening your neck and saying you're not going to do it?" If you don't know how to do it, I'm going to teach you. If you bow your neck and say you're not going to do it, I'm going to fire you. Henry Ford built the V8 engine. And he built the V8 engine. He was decisive in the fact that he was going to build it. And all of these guys with all these degrees explained to him why it couldn't be done. He said, "I don't want to hear that. I want it built." Look at question number 2. Well, look at one first. Why do some people do the impossible? Because they don't know what the word "can't" means. How many times do you hear somebody say, "I can't do that"? Well, it either means you don't know how, or it means I'm not going to. That second question said, why are they like bumblebees? Do you understand that bumblebees cannot fly? It is aerodynamically impossible for a bumblebee to fly. They cannot fly. And thank goodness they can't read either. Because if they could read, they'd understand they can't fly, and they wouldn't be out there flying. You can do the impossible. There's nothing you can't do if you become decisive and you decide you're going to do it. Are you going to decide this week that you're going to accomplish those 3 goals, or are you going to say, I can't do that? Remember, there's no such word as can't. You either say, I don't know how, or I'm not going to. So when you decide this week if you're going to do those goals, you got to be decisive and you say, I'm going to get it done. Well, that's impossible. No, it's not. I can get it done. Was it possible for George Washington and those ragtag militia to beat the greatest power on earth? Nope, that was impossible. They can't do it. Wait a minute, they did it. Was it possible for Sam Houston and a ragtag group of militiamen after the devastation at the Alamo and Goliad to beat Santa Anna and 10 times the number of troops? They can't do that. Well, they did it. You see, you can do anything as long as you're not willing to use the word can't. And if you use the word can't, make sure you understand what it means. I don't know how, or I'm not going to do it. Real simple. Be decisive when you make a decision on the goals this week. Be the role model of being decisive. See you tomorrow.